Good morning, everyone. We have Shinedu standing by, and Shinedu, I'm handing over to you.
Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome once again to another episode here in the Green Fingers Wildlife Sanctuary. Now, we've been doing this for quite a few weeks and we've talked about different kinds of animals. We've looked at some endangered animals, we've looked at some um, animals near that are also near threatened, but different animals, but each animal having its own peculiar challenge, especially here in Nigeria and in other parts of the world also. Now, today we'll be looking at a different kind of species. Now, for most of the animals we've been working with for the past few weeks, those animals who basically have been out, we'll be able to interact with them, and they basically came up close to the camera. But our guest today is a nocturnal animal, and she's sleeping in the background somewhere about here. But I'm going to talk to you a bit about her. So she's sleeping in the background. She basically moves. She's more agile at night, and she's quite an interesting one. And I'm talking about no other species but the genet. But before I even go into that, the animals here within the Green Fingers Wildlife Sanctuary are animals that have been rescued from either the human wildlife conflicts, or animals that have been captured by poachers or hunters, just about to be used for food, and we've been able to rescue these animals and give them better homes, a second chance at life, and most of these animals actually are being put back into the wild to continue their lives, as it should be. But some of the animals here have some kind of um, occurrences that may have happened in their life, especially when humans came in, and some of them cannot go back into the wild. And our guest today is one of them. Now, today we'll be talking about a wonderful species it's called the genet. Now, genet, Genet. Now, the genet the genet is a cat-like animal, with a slender body, actually only endemic on the African continent. Now, there are about 10 different types, there are about 10 different species of gannets. But today, um, we'll be looking at one of the gannets that's actually found within this area. It's called the rusty gannet. Now, the gannets basically, like I said, are slender-like cat-like creatures, slender cat-like creatures, and they are carnivores, and they are very, very agile, have great flexibility, are known to sneak into certain kind of places. They are mostly ground dwelling, but many of them do like to also stay on trees, so they move around quite. They're quite agile even when moving around on trees. They're also very, very good climbers. Now, gannets have a wide range of territory which basically they occupy. They are they like to they prefer to stay alone rather than in big groups, like you would have rather than in big groups or in twos or in certain numbers. They are solitary creatures. They only come together for mating and when it's time maybe to raise the young ones. But even during the raising of the young ones, it is the female that does the raising of the young ones alone. Now, like I said, they are carnivores. They will feed on, many of them are carnivores. They will feed on smaller vertebrates. Some will even go for other kinds of invertebrates. And they will also sometimes, occasionally, depending on the species of depending on the species of gannet, they will go for fruits and leaves as well. So they have quite a large range of diet. Now, I'm going to talk about this particular gannet and how we rescued this one. Now, in Nigeria, gannets normally are, well, everywhere. They are mostly nocturnal, so people don't get to see them. Now, one of the problems facing them is actually loss of habitat. Now, these gannets are losing their habitat at an alarming rate. And as a result of that, when people move into a new area, when the forests are cleared, people are building their houses there. Now they become um, they begin to get visited by these gannets. So gannets begin to come into habitats. They come into people's areas. Now people who keep other kind of smaller birds like chickens, um, pigeons, you have the gannets coming into those areas and basically raiding those areas and eating the animals because it's within their territory, within their habitat. But because they are nocturnal, they are very, very flexible and very, very agile. They are able to get away with a lot of these things. Now, one thing we must know here is that here in Nigeria, in these parts, especially where the sanctuary is located, there are we have wild gannets in the neighborhood. So we do have wild gannets coming into the sanctuary and we get to see them, but that only happens at night. So on a fateful day, we were walking down. I was my attention was drawn to a group of people who have gathered around a certain creature. So a lot of Nigerians don't know about this animal. So a lot of them they thought it was a fox. They called it different names. It actually looks like, it looks like it's a miniature leopard, but it's not a leopard, but it has the spots of leopards basically. So it's definitely not a fox. But people felt it was a fox, so they had clubbed it on its head and were just about to kill it by the time we got there. But since we found out that there was no external bleeding, so the animal was just hyperventilating, we asked if we could just take the animal from them, and they agreed. So we kept the animal, and after some time, she came through, but she was a bit wobbly. Her movement was off. Her behavior was basically off. So we were very skeptical that she would make it. But because we lack, and here in Nigeria, we do lack a lot of capacity when it comes to wildlife medicine or wildlife veterinary medicine. We kept her and felt and just hoped that she'll basically come through. We provided a good environment for her, a good space for her, and to ensure that she basically gets what she needed. Now, what we discovered now after some time was that she came through, but after some time she'll be having seizures. Now, these seizures continued over a period of time. Now, we put her in a bigger enclosure to see how she can get back her mobility and her movement, and she's been doing quite well um, with that over time. Now, there's another animal that is moving around there. I mean, today we're only supposed to talk about one animal, but that animal has been getting into the picture quite a lot, and that's called a kusimanse. But we won't talk much about the kusimanse today. I'm going to take you in for a closer look at what the genet looks like. So you would just look in the corner here and see an animal that is wrapped just quietly round in the corner there, just beneath the kusimanse there. That is the genet, and she's just basically taking her nap. She's basically been disturbed. She doesn't stay with these guys. These guys have just basically moved into her enclosure, and they're just basically disturbing her. And I feel she's had enough of them already for today. So that's the genet. And like I said, one of the major challenges facing the genet here in Nigeria is the loss of habitat. Their loss of habitat and is causing them to move further away from where they should be, and getting into contact with a lot of people and getting into contact with people, and people are now killing them because they do not understand what kind of animal it is, and because the genet is also raiding their farms, raiding their livestock, and their, basically the animals, and causing harm, and thereby they are being hunted and killed for that reason. Genets also produce a certain kind of musk that is used in certain kind of industries, and they are also hunted for that for that gland which basically they possess. Now, please understand that here in Nigeria, Gannets are, and I know other parts of Africa, we understand that gannets are facing a lot of problem. A lot of gannets, species of gannets, some of them are near threatened. A lot of them also are endangered because of these reasons. And it's important that we as individuals contribute and raise our voices to ensure that these animals get the help they need in every case. Here in Nigeria, there's really not much work that is being done for gannets in conserving these species, on conserving what we have left. Prior to this, I have never seen a gannet in the wild. I mean, I have never seen a gannet in the wild. Neither have I seen a gannet in any zoo here in Nigeria. And we need to raise more awareness about these animals, so that we can make better choices when dealing with them or whenever we encounter such a species, because they also have a role to play in the ecosystem and they must be protected. Once again, I thank you all for tuning in this week, for as we talked about our the Gannet. And yes, because she's asleep, because she's nocturnal, I wouldn't want to disturb her and wake her up so that we get to see her. But more pictures of her can be found on our social media handles, and even anywhere, even on the internet, you will find more pictures of her. Yes, so these are creatures that need to be protected, and we are doing all our best. And we need, with your support, we can actually do more. So please, there's a link in the description below. You can donate to help support our work and to help in rescuing more of these species and helping in conserving as many more that we can get. And I'll see you next time with a brand new species. Probably we'll be talking about the pussy mantations. They've already stolen, they've basically stolen the show, um, stolen the show for today. So we can be talking about them next week. So see you next week, same time, same place. Thank you very much.